Hi, Joel. Thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone, we have Joel Kremer. He's the Chief Operating Officer at MOYOSA Media, and he's joining us from Netherlands. Thank you so much for your time today, Joel.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
Maybe you could tell us a little about your business, and then how has it been affected during these times, and how are you managing?
Like I said when we quickly spoke this morning, it's very interesting times. At MOYOSA Media, we design um, digital experience based on new visual technologies such as augmented reality, virtual reality, hologram technology, but also a lot of 3D touchscreen combinations. And so I think, if anything, this whole crisis has given the world, or has given the world, a new perspective on digital technology, where people previously may have thought, oh, this is something that we can do in the future. They have been forced to quickly adopt, and we are, I would say, doing okay in the business. I think there's a lot of ask and a lot of demand for our services, because people see that for a number of reasons, and already before this crisis, it can be a very good business case to use augmented reality, virtual reality, and 3D modeling. So, but of course, if you need to do a demo of a product like a factory machine, or a bulldozer, or something small like something in retail or e-commerce, if you want to show this vase, how that would look in your living room, then that's something that 3D technology can nowadays quite easily show. And so even the fact that you're in India and I'm in Berlin at the moment shows that digital technology is actually, it's unthinkable that it's not there.
Absolutely. So, Joel, in these times, have sales been affected, or have your employees, your team been affected, and how are you managing work?
That's actually three questions. Sales has been affected in the sense that we've been very fortunate that nothing has been canceled yet, but certainly our clients and their clients, because we often work for agencies as well, have obviously been managing budgets differently. And like I said before, in some cases that means that they are shifting budget towards us, and in some cases it means that they are shifting budgets completely and putting things on hold. So we're okay at the moment, but if this, let's hope not, but hypothetically speaking, if this continues until the end of the year, then I think I think no one is okay then. So it's interesting times. I think even though there's a lot of hardship, first and foremost, emotional hardship with families and loved ones who've been affected by this crisis. But on the business side, I think almost just like in any other crisis, I think people are being laid off. We've been very fortunate that we have not done this because we are still producing projects for our clients. So only the future will tell how that holds up.
Absolutely, that's very good to hear, and that's one of the very few interviews that I've done where layoffs are not happening. So very good to hear. Yeah. Still, despite all this, what is the silver lining that you see?
Well, I think first of all, we started very early on, over a month ago now, to think about this whole thing. And at the time, it sounded a little bit like, and it felt a little bit like paranoia. But we'd rather be prepared than and be paranoia about stuff than not be prepared. So very early on, there was a case where one of our employees, one of our team members, lived in the same village in the north of Holland as someone who was diagnosed with the virus. And the government's suggestion and the government's advice at the time was to stay at home if you're anywhere near that. So again, at the time when we said it's better if you stay and work from home for a week or 10 days, we got some raised eyebrows. But I think now everyone understands that, and including us, that that was a good decision. We then very quickly implemented an emergency plan so that everyone would be able to work from home in the case of a full lockdown. Everyone basically within 2 days picked up their machines, their computer rigs, and all the hardware that we need to produce and keep producing projects. And everyone has been working from home for the last almost 3 weeks now. It's going well. We do status meetings every morning. The spirit is good. The silver lining, I think, is that it does bring your team together because everyone is there for each other. Everyone is not only being all business and asking only about projects, but also how's everyone feeling today. There are a lot of, I think, mental and psychological consequences that no one had seen coming, including myself. I spent 2 or 3 days with sort of depressed feelings, and I didn't know where it was coming from. This is supposedly a very normal adjustment period because of the new normal, and it's good to talk about those things. So I think that's a silver lining, that it brings your team closer together. You learn a lot about each other. And also, like I said before, I think one of the silver linings is that that everyone is now appreciating what we do in terms of services, in terms of our business, much more. So virtual reality, especially augmented reality, and the ability to create, for instance, a showroom that is long distance, or that enables people of trade fairs to not have to take their full product range of bulldozers or factory machines, or a full product suite of e-commerce SKUs, either to a fair or anywhere else. Now you can just show it online in a very realistic way. So I think across the board, our services and our vision about digital is much more appreciated. And my hope, obviously, is that will translate into more business.
Good. So Joel, as a serial entrepreneur, I'm sure this is like your third business, I think. Is that right?
This is my, owned, yes.
Okay, good. So as someone who's been in the entrepreneurship shoes for a really good time now, what would you suggest to some of the other entrepreneurs who might be watching right now? And there are a lot of different types of businesses. Not everyone is digital. Not everyone can use the work from home mechanism, but there are zero revenues and you have fixed costs like employees and others. What would you suggest to them that they can do or implement or try to be able to get past this?
Well, a couple of things I think I already mentioned. I think it's very important to keep dialogues open, both internally and externally. So we had a conversation with our landlord where we rent an office, who reached out to us to ask if everything is going okay, if we foresee problems, etc. That's good to have. So it's good to have that dialogue, because we believe in, as you know from when we met 3 years ago, we believe in long-term relationships. So communication and dialogue are very important. I think in line with that, I think coming to sort of mutual alignment and understandings, very important. So you can't only have benefits for yourself in this situation, especially. We need to have win-win situations so that they help us and we help them. I think internally, the same thing. Like I said, you need to be there for your team. You need to be there for your partners. Unfortunately, I do realize that we work or fortunately, I realized that we work in an environment where our business can continue as it has continued, working from home. And I think as much as possible, obviously, if you run a car mechanic shop, that is not possible. And I do truly believe that crises like these bring opportunities and bring change to the world in a much needed way. And so, using the car mechanic example, that whole market is moving to electrical and digital solutions. And so maybe, even though this might sound harsh, maybe that is also meant as a sign and as a signal to start thinking about the future, even though the now is very, very difficult, right? Especially the businesses that are that have interaction with people, and you need to talk to people, and then you need to bring in their cars in this case. That is very, very difficult. But we're positive people. We want to see the positive in things, and that's something that we truly believe in. So there's a million sayings about this, but basically every door that closes brings new opportunities, we believe. Try and stay positive.
Absolutely. Very positive, Joel. True that. So, Joel, you did mention that you have daily status calls with your team in the morning usually.
Yes.
But is maintaining motivation or just keeping that kind of energy going, is that been a challenge, or is that able to happen on its own?
No, that is definitely challenging. And I think the larger you are, we're a relatively small company. So I think, if you have hundreds or even thousands of workers, I think it's very important that the people that manage teams, large and small, try and find ways to keep people motivated. And, that also means going out of the usual working systems. So, for instance, if you see something fun on Instagram or on TikTok, maybe you try and do something fun with your team as well, just to show your human side, and to make people smile a little bit. A smile goes a long way. I can give you a small example. We sent everyone, we had this ritual whenever we sold a new project, to have a shot of alcohol. Obviously, not before 4 p.m. But I think so. What we did basically was buy a bottle of that same alcohol for the team. We had a nice customized box with one of the paintings that we did a project for a virtual reality museum, and one of the paintings had someone raising their glass. So we went nice customized box with our logo and a text like, we'll get through this together. Let's keep celebrating success. And I think these things, even though they're tiny, they're very much appreciated by the team.
Absolutely.
So, and it doesn't have to cost much. It can be. I know people who do morning gym on Zoom with their team. They do yoga with their team. They share experiences about how to be sure that you can work from home whilst there are kids next to you playing and screaming. And I think everyone is really trying to help each other at this moment. So, and I think, like I said, if a lot of cultures and a lot of companies are very hierarchical. I know that from the US. I know that from India as well. I think if you show that, yes, we need to deliver on projects, yes, we have to deliver on deadlines, but also we're human, and in the end of the day, work should also be fun. So I think that's a very important element.
Absolutely.
Keep the motivation up.
Very positive, actually. But Joel, in these times, India, we are well aware of, and US also, we are reading a lot about how it's going. Do you think the unemployment rate in Holland or in Netherlands, is going to be tremendously affected, or do you think it'll come back to normal by the time lockdown gets back?
Yes and yes. I think it is already being affected tremendously. If you look only at our national airline, not being able, these are large enterprises that are being hit because the travel industry completely dries up. Fortunately, we have a government that wants to support that. So yes, it's being tremendously affected. But at the same time, I do believe that the government is protecting that, or trying to protect that as best we can, which is why we pay a lot of taxes. It's for situations such as now. And once this is all over, I'm sure that these businesses, even though they might be transformed in many ways, because that's what these times do. They transform your business, and they force you to think about, or they should force you to think about, how to be more effective, how to build in emergency buffers, both financially as well as process-wise. And I'm very hopeful that in this case the travel industry will recover, because especially after being locked down for 6 or 8 or 12 weeks, people want to go out, people want to travel, and people want to go and experience and enjoy their life. And if anything, this has shown how much they miss it. So I think yes, I think it will be affected. It is being affected, but it will also return to perhaps a new normal, but it will return to normal.
Right. And Joel, this work from home scenario, it seems, has worked really well for you, since it's been a while that your team is working that way. Do you think there might be a chance that you'll adopt to this new normal, or do you think that you'll have to move back to the arrangement of everyone sitting together, spending time on travel, and then reaching their workplace?
Well, it's a funny question, because we are obviously a company who believes in digital, and moreover, we believe in virtual. At the same time, we're very realistic. So nothing works better than a face-to-face meeting. And not even, also on Zoom, but also just in general, sitting together and, having that almost emotional connection with a prospect or a client or a partner. So even though this is working for us, it will never be the same as sitting in an office together. So we will return to, let's say, the situation pre-crisis, but it's good to know that this works for us. And I think everyone, when the situation has returned to, let's say, a new normal, everyone will have this in the back of their head. What if? And we've always been, like, I've always been, since I've been the manager, I've always been quite flexible on that, and quite strict. So for me, you can work from anywhere in the world. You can almost, I would say, take as much leave as you want. But if there's deadlines, you need to adhere to them. As long as your deadlines are good and your quality of your work is good, then you won't hear from me.
Good.
That's a trade-off.
I think a lot of these things we learned at Google at our times there.
Yes, exactly.
So someone can leave Google, but the Googliness doesn't leave you.
No, and I think, I mean, in a way, I think I especially grew up at Google. It was my first real job, and it taught me a lot of, even the way I work today. So there's a lot of principles I truly believe in.
Good, absolutely. And one last question, Joel, before we sign off.
Sure.
What is the first thing that you'll do once the lockdown gets lifted?
Well, I think the first thing that we'll do is we're going to go and see our family. We haven't been, I'm here with my wife and 2 beautiful daughters. We have not seen my in-laws. We have not seen my parents. Everyone is isolated and self-isolating, and that's because simply our parents, and even my wife's grandmother, is at higher risk of God forbid, if they catch this virus, who knows what will happen. And so we'll spend some quality time with them, and I think we will probably try and get out of the country and spend some time on a holiday, so that my kids can at least have holiday, because even though they'll be at the beach playing in the sand, I will probably be inside with my laptop and my phone working.
Absolutely, absolutely, Joel. Great. Thank you so much, Joel, for taking out time for us. It's always been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Please stay safe, stay healthy. Give my regards to your sister, and I hope we will get to work on the project we discussed very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.